Today we're going to make no-bake blueberry cheesecake bars. It's an incredibly easy recipe to pull together and it just sets in the fridge. There's a fluffy cheesecake filling that is like just perfectly tangy and a little bit sweet that's swirled with an easy homemade blueberry compote, and then it's all layered on top of its simple no-bake graham cracker crust. Let's get into it. So it looks like a lot, but I promise it's gonna be easy and nothing goes in the oven, so that's all that matters. We are going to make a quick blueberry jam or compote to swirl into the cheesecake, but you could actually absolutely just kind of fold fresh blueberries into it as well. It would be just as yummy. I'm gonna go ahead and take my blueberries and a bit of sugar. They are so ripe and just really beautiful that they don't need too much sugar. And then I'm going to squeeze about 1/2 of a lemon just straight in there. Now, we are going to take this, we're going to pop it on the stove, put it over kind of medium heat, and we're going to let those blueberries pop, and then they're going to create a quick jelly, and it's going to be super fast, and we're going to pour them out and get them in the fridge so that we can swirl it into our jam. Nothing crazy is happening here yet. While the blueberries cook, we are going to make our crust and our filling. I've got myself a 9 by 11, and I'm going to, a 9 by 13, and I'm going to give her a quick line. Now I folded one half sheet in half, and that will go at the bottom, and then I folded another one to kind of come up along the sides. Go ahead and just give it a quick spray. And we're going to place the one that goes long ways first. That way it's underneath everything and it won't leave the other parchment behind. And then we'll go ahead and give it a little spray there, and we will put this one here. Now, it is not imperative that, I mean, obviously this is not covering all the sides. This is not going to stick to the sides. It's not about that. It's about getting it out of the pan easily. Whew. Ready? We've got graham crackers, light brown sugar, salt, and butter. Melted. I just melted in the microwave. It's nothing fancy. Shouldn't still be hot. I'm going to show you what I've got in my pot here. Now you can see it's just starting to break down. They've started to release their juices. It's looking good, but it's still obviously very thin. And we want it to be a little thicker than that. Like, we don't want any part of this loosey-goosiness in our filling. So we're just gonna let it kind of keep going. That's what we're gonna do over here. It's popping, looking good. We're gonna come back to our crust and just get in there with our hand. You could do this with a spoon, totally fine. Just give it a nice squeeze. You wanna make sure the butter is fully coating everything. Okay, so go ahead and take this, grab your prepared pan, and pop it in there. I like to spread it out a little bit first, make sure it gets everywhere evenly before I start to press it down. And then I'm just gonna press it in. No special technique needed here. Now you wanna make sure that it is nice and pressed in there. Because as this sets in the fridge, this is going to be your base, and you don't want it to be loosey-goosey or, breaking all over the place. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pop this in my fridge while I finish mixing the filling and my jam, which is, well, I think she's pretty much done in there, just to give it a chance to get a head start. It's not necessary though, but why not? Now you can see that it is like ferocious in here, and you can see that it's kind of like holding my spoon. It's actually kind of sticking to the bottom, and it's definitely done, and we don't want to overcook it or burn it or anything like that. It will continue to thicken as it cools, but there's some nice blueberry chunks in there, and there's a lot of nice sauce, which the natural pectin of blueberries is going to kind of thicken. Now I've got myself a sheet pan that I've lined with plastic wrap. You could use parchment as well. And I'm just gonna pour this out. And this is gonna help it cool quickly, because obviously we are in a rush and we need these bars immediately. This will help her cool fast. I'm gonna put a piece of plastic on top, poke some holes, pop her in the fridge. All right, so we are ready to mix our filling. So I've got cream cheese here, which I've just thankfully not broken. So cream cheese in the bowl. And then we're gonna let that go on its own for just a minute. We wanna make sure that it is nice and soft and pliable before we go adding any other things. So I'm gonna give it a twirl on its own. Just gonna give it a little scrape. It's pretty soft. But I want to make sure that it is nice and soft. I don't want it to present any problems. A little bit cold is good because it kind of helps when you add the acidity of the lemon juice. But beautiful. It's nice and soft and silky smooth, and we're going to go ahead and add our sugar. And we are going to beat this in until it is smooth. No granules left. You want it to be nice and silky and light and fluffy. And it's going to take a minute, so you want to be patient with it and let it do its thing. All right. It is beautiful and silky smooth in there. There's no visible granules. It looks just like silk. So I'm going to go ahead and add my vanilla and my salt. Beat that in really nicely. Fab. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of lemon juice. This is to cut some of the sweetness that is typically found in kind of no-bake cheesecakes where they're a little cloying. So this is going to help, brighten that flavor, and it's going to pair beautifully with the blueberry. So go ahead and add it a little bit at a time. Wonderful. So what we have in our bowl is a silky smooth batter. Like you see how this is it's just super silky smooth. Really, it's light and airy already. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch to the whisk and then add our heavy cream, and we're gonna beat that up, and that's going to be our filling. This is gonna add the body and the volume and the lightness. Just gonna give it one scrape about and make sure that there's nobody's hiding at the bottom. So we are going to add our heavy cream. It's a lot, I know. And switch to the whisk. So start it off slow, it's a lot of cream. And then you'll gradually increase the speed, and as the heavy cream beats up, it's going to create that really light and airy, beautiful cheesecake texture. Wonderful. So you are kind of looking for it to almost create, it's not stiff peaks because obviously there's a ton of cream cheese in there, but it is a little bit like stiff peaks in the sense that you can kind of take it, it'll hold itself, but it's a little denser than heavy cream because of all the accoutrements that we put in there. So our filling is ready. It took like 2 minutes, and we are excited because that means that we are 2 minutes closer to cheesecake bars. Ta-da! And go ahead and start to kind of dollop this in there. Kind of help myself out by spreading it out as I put it in, not just putting it all in the center. Get yourself an offset spatula of the large or small variety and just kind of spread this out. We will, I almost said smear. We're going to swirl the blueberries in after, just so that we kind of control where they go, but you could 100% you could already pre-mix them into your cheesecake filling if you'd like, and then you'll have a nice blue cheesecake filling. But I kind of want that swirl effect, if you will. And so I am going to just put them in after. All right, get it into the corners though. Do be sure to do that. And then, stop at some point and get your blueberry filling, which I have placed in the freezer briefly because she was not cool, because my fridge is very full. And we're back. All right, so we have our blueberry filling, which is 99.9% cool. I'm gonna put this in a piping bag to make it kind of go in a little bit nicer, make my swirls a little prettier, but you could 100% just kind of dollop it and then swirl. Go ahead and cut. You wanna make sure you cut a hole that is large enough for the blueberries to pass through, because otherwise they're just gonna get stuck. And then that's gonna be kind of sad. So just kind of, here, poke in different places. You know, you're trying to get your filling kind of all over the place, and then we will go back and we will swirl. Now again, you could whoa, that's a big one. You could have kind of stirred this into the cheesecake batter, if you will, and had a nice kind of bluish, purplish actual cheesecake bar. Now I think I'm good with that amount there. And I'm going to do this with a paring knife, which you could do it with a skewer or anything like that. And I'm just kind of making figure eights, and that's how I am swirling. Now it is going to unlevel my batter, so if that bothers me, you know it does. I'm going to go back and I'm going to level it out. You know what else would be really delightful? A bit of my brown sugar strudel that you've pre-baked. You could press that on top, and then you've got yourself like a blueberry cheesecake strudel bar. I mean, I'm just saying, that would be pretty delicious. Okay, now, as I said, I'm going to see how one corner looks, and then I will decide if I am okay with, I think I'm gonna have to be okay. I know. Anyways. So it's less of a swirl and more of just a purple top, which looks really cool. I'm done. All right, we are gonna take this and we are gonna pop it in the fridge and we're gonna let it set. It's only gonna take a couple hours. So we're gonna have cheesecake bars, no time. All right. Our cheesecake bars have set in the fridge. It's been several hours, and I am just gonna pop them out, and then we're gonna slice them. So I'm just gonna pop them out using my little, oh my God, okay. And then pull that down. We're just gonna slice. I've got some hot water here and a towel to just kind of wipe between each slice, to make sure that I get a nice, beautiful slice every time. Put them on a cake stand, whatever you want, but it's like slate here. You can, of course, slice them willy-nilly. Nothing is going to stop you. But, you know, if you want a perfect slice, hot water's the way to go. All right, it is time to try. So obviously you can slice them, place them on any plate. They do need to be refrigerated, and they do slice easier when they're cold. So, you know, you can serve them room temperature, but honestly, I think cheesecake tastes best cold. But, I mean, without further ado, it's time to try. I'm just gonna pick up this one right here. All right, so you see the crust is so nice. It's like actually very sturdy. It's because we pressed it so nicely down and like compacted it. And then the layers sliced really nicely. You get those beautiful studs of blueberries. It's soft and pillowy. It tastes like the perfect tang from the cheesecake, with a little bit of like sweetness from the blueberries. And then like when you get like one of those full blueberries, like a pop of blueberry, and then a little crunch and softness from the graham crust, which is really wonderful all together. It's super refreshing, super summer.